Good evening. It is beautiful outside, and it's so nice to be recording from home this evening and sitting in our Four Seasons room, soaking up a little evening sunshine. So looks like the light is shining through there. So hopefully um, the recording isn't too difficult to see. I'd like to thank Carl Reinhardt for inviting me to be able to share a little information with you this evening about Wayne County 4-H and 4-H in general. So for those who don't know me, my name is Alicia Criswel, and I am the 4-H Youth Development Educator here in Wayne County. So 4-H, as you may know, is a national organization that is present in all 50 states, and in Indiana it is present in all 92 counties, and that is a similar situation across the country. The land grant university of each state officially houses the 4-H program. So that's why I am affiliated with Purdue University as a Purdue Extension educator, with 4-H Youth Development being my program area of specialty. So, just a little bit about my background. I grew up just to the west here in Henry County, in a little town, the little town, some of you may know it, of New Lisbon, Indiana. Went to Junior Senior High School in Henry County, where my experience with anyone who was different than anyone who looked different, believed different, came from an income bracket that was significantly different, was very, very limited. Diversity and difference was not a part of my childhood, my adolescence, or even really my early adulthood. Upon graduating high school, I went to Ball State University in Muncie to major in family and consumer sciences education. And that was really my first taste of a little bit of real diversity, people who were different than me, who looked different, sounded different, believed different, came from a different background, and it was fascinating. I just kind of soaked that up. I really embraced those differences, which, I think was a little bit unexpected, both from myself and from those who knew me, simply because, my background growing up, everybody was pretty much, the same. After I graduated with my bachelor's degree in family and consumer sciences education, I began my teaching career and was fortunate to teach at Beech Grove High School on the southeast side of Indianapolis. And I loved the diverse nature of that student body and of that population. Um, and just the acceptance of those students, of each other for the most part. Diversity and difference was a part of their upbringing, where it wasn't mine, and so it was just such a neat thing for me to experience as an adult, to be working with youth who, diversity was literally a part of their everyday. And so from there, I just really kind of developed a passion for difference, whether it was, different levels of learning, different places of origin, different sexual orientation, different beliefs, racial and ethnicity, just differences in general. And so I truly believe that we are better together. If we look at the world as a whole, it's a very diverse world. That it's just who we are. And I think that was no accident. And that together, and looking at each other's differences, embracing each other's differences, and really finding the strengths within those differences will create not only, a better individual, but a better community, a better family, a better world. So it's my goal for my own children. My husband and I are raising three sons, it's my goal for my children to expose them to difference and diversity and to do it in a way that is strictly positive. It's important to me that they understand, that as white men in America from a middle class upbringing, they have privilege. And that's just a fact of the world that we live in. But that I don't ever want that privilege to keep them from exploring and embracing um, the rest of the world and the uniqueness that exists in all of us. So my goal, for my own children and for my 4-H program is equal access and equal opportunity for all. I see a child as a child, and regardless of that child's origin or belief system or their color, I want them to be successful. And I believe that if they are successful, they are going to give back to our community and to our world in a positive way. And I want to see our world more than ever. You turn on the TV today, more than ever, I want to see this world be a positive place where the next generation can grow and flourish, and create a world where people are accepted and loved for who they are. So that's my goal for our 4-H program, is that there's equal access and opportunity for all children in Wayne County, regardless of anything that makes them human. So just to bring a little bit of information to you about the 4-H program. When I spoke with Carl and we had our initial conversation, he said, I still believe, that 4-H is this ag, right? It's an agriculture program. And Carl's not wrong. We're rooted in agriculture and we're very proud of that. So 4-H began in 1902 as corn clubs. So the picture of extension at the turn of that century, of the 20th century, was that extension educators like myself, although at that time mostly white men, would travel the train systems, and they would stop in little towns like Milton, Indiana, here behind me, and they would teach the folks who lived in those little towns different agricultural based practices that would help them yield more crops and therefore make more money. But as some of the kiddos out there who are watching this might agree, parents can be pretty stubborn and stuck in their ways, parents, adults, whomever. And so those farmers didn't really listen, but the kids did. Those children listened to the things that those agriculture agents at the time were teaching those adults, and those youth began implementing those practices. And in doing so, they started out farming the adults and their dads and their uncles and grandfathers at that point. Farming was a predominantly male occupation at that point. And so corn clubs were born. And so when that happened, the dad's grandpa's uncle said, okay, how are you making this happen? And maybe I should look at what you're doing. And from that part of 1902 on to present day, so we're nearly 120 years old, 4-H has grown. We've grown out of the fields, and in Wayne County, we offer more than 60 projects that we like to say range all the way from aerospace, which is rockets and concepts of flight, all the way to woodworking, which is how to build a birdhouse or even a table or a bed out of wood, and everything in between. So I think many of us, when we don't have a lot of maybe background or knowledge about 4-H, we all sort of, if we close our eyes and think about 4-H, I know that what most people have shared with me that they think of is a youth holding the halter of a beef steer, right, in a show arena. They're showing livestock. They're doing something related to what's typically thought of as a farm type project. But we offer so many different opportunities. So 4-H is not necessarily about agriculture or livestock, although that is part of our history and we're very proud of that. but we wouldn't have been around for 120 years if we hadn't adapted and changed over time. So 4-H is about positive youth development. It's not something our mission area doesn't have, or our mission statement, I'm sorry, doesn't have anything to do with agriculture. It has everything to do with positive youth development. So in Indiana, the 4-H mission is to provide real-life educational opportunities that develop young people who will have a positive impact in their communities and the world. So we are all about positive youth development, and we work on that through 3 different mission areas. And those 3 different mission areas are healthy living, STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and math, and citizenship and leadership. So within those 3 areas. And then all of those projects that I mentioned are basically just the vehicle for teaching those skills: healthy living, citizenship and leadership, and STEM. So if you are interested in learning more about what 4-H has to offer, I have a couple of places, a couple of things that I'd like to share with you. And I am going to attempt here to share my screen with you in hopes that you can see what I see. So I've got 4 different screens pulled up, and the first is Purdue Extension, and then I also have the 4-H national page pulled up, and then our local page, and then the Indiana 4-H mission there. So if you are interested in learning about 4-H as a whole, so what is this whole 4-H concept? As I shared with you at the beginning of this video, 4-H is the largest youth-serving organization in the country. It is also the only federally funded youth-serving organization in the country. So if you go to 4h.org, you are going to come to a page where there is lots of information about 4-H, information for you as a parent. Perhaps some of you are proud 4-H alumni like myself, ways to give to the program, and then there's a place there for 4-H professionals like myself. So if you're interested in learning more about what 4-H is doing across the country, our history, the different curriculums that are involved, and the different things that we're working in, this is a great place to explore. If you're interested then in learning a little bit more about 4-H across the state of Indiana, you can go to extension.purdue.edu/4H, and you will come to the Indiana 4-H Youth Development page. And this is a great place to learn about some of the things then that are happening at the state level. So you'll see up here, there's an About section, and then there are places where you can learn about how to get involved, a list of all the state projects that are offered, how you can volunteer with 4-H, and how to give back to the Indiana 4-H program. So this is a great place to go if you'd like to focus even a little bit further. But where I'd really like to take you is to the Purdue Extension Wayne County page. And this can be found by visiting extension.purdue.edu/Wayne. But if you're like me, I can never remember a URL to save my life. And so what I do is I use my friend Google. So if you type in Purdue Extension Wayne County in your search bar of whatever browser or search engine you prefer, the first result there will be our page, Wayne County Purdue Extension. And so if you visit that page, you are going to see the different program areas listed at the top. So we've got agriculture, community development, environment, family, food, garden, and right down here where it says youth is where those 4-H materials and resources are going to be listed. So if you would like to learn, okay, so I've checked out 4h.org and I understand what 4-H is, and I went to the Indiana 4-H site through Purdue Extension, and so what do we have to offer here at the local level? Well, here at the local level, we have a lot to offer you. We've got more than 30 clubs that are located all across the county. We've got some forms here, but where I'd really like to draw your attention is to the 4-H County projects. And if you've ever been to the Wayne County 4-H Fair, which typically occurs in June, although this year, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, it became a July event, you may have seen the thousands of projects that are exhibited and completed by Wayne County 4-Hers each year. We have typically over 4,000 non-walking, we call them non-walking projects, which if you've been to our fair are those projects that are inside of the Coleman Center. And there is absolutely no need for you to live on a farm or have any sort of agricultural background to be able to participate in those projects. And then of course we've got our livestock, where if you've ever been out to the fair, you'll see those throughout the fairgrounds in the barns. And I've got some really exciting ideas. As Carl and I were talking last week, Carl kind of sparked some ideas in my brain, and I need to have some conversations, but I'm hoping to bring some agricultural opportunities into some of our neighborhoods in Richmond. And so stay tuned, because I'm hoping to have some meetings with some folks who might be willing to host us and get some of you involved in those types of endeavors if you're interested. But here on our project page, if you'd like to see just kind of a quick list of projects, we've got in that first article there some information. And if we pull that up, you will find a list of all of our projects. And I know that there's a lot of information here, but if you just check out the first column here that says project, you'll see a list. So it says aerospace, animal posters, basic crafts, so construction toys. That's one of our largest projects inside of the Coleman building. You build a project out of construction toys. So Legos, Connects, Lincoln Logs, whatever types of construction toys you like. We've got ceramics, farm scenes, gift wrapping. So wrapping gifts, presents, that's a 4-H project. Latch hook, macrame, miscellaneous crafts. So if you just like to do crafts, sand art, basketry, beekeeping, cake decorating, child development, collection. So if you like to collect things, there's just tons, and you can look through all of these projects, but you will see painting, drawing, baked foods, preserved foods, forestry, geology, health, home environment, and it just goes on and on and on. Photography. So something for everybody there, more than 60 projects. So if this is something that you're thinking, you know what, this might be something that I would like to get involved with, we would certainly love to have you. So if you would like to get involved, I would encourage you to reach out to me or the Purdue Extension Wayne County office, and that can be achieved by shooting me an email. And my email address is like my first name, Alicia Criswel, but with only one L, so CRISWEL @purdue.edu. You can reach me by phone at area code 765-973-9281. And now is the perfect time to get involved, because our new program year starts on October the 1st. So we will be opening our online enrollment on October the 1st, and that will run until January 15th of 2021. So if you would like to get involved in 4-H, whether it's for the first time or perhaps you are a multi-generational 4-H family, we'd certainly love to have you join us, and that would be the best way to get you started. But I want you to know that this is not, the list that I shared with you is not the end of the 4-H opportunity. So aside from those projects, we do all kinds of programming within those 3 mission areas that I mentioned. So healthy living, STEM, and citizenship and leadership. And we've always got something going on in the community. So if you'd like to get plugged into those types of things, again, please reach out and I'd be happy to add you to our mailing list. And in the spirit of creating equal opportunity and equal access for everyone, for all youth across Wayne County, I would like to invite you to please share any ideas or suggestions that you might have for programs, or if you've got a specific location where you're thinking, man, we'd love to do some of this stuff, but maybe we don't have transportation. Maybe we don't have a way to get, to a club meeting in other parts of the county. Let me know, because if there are gaps in our services, I want to know so that I can make sure that we're involving the youth who are being affected by those gaps. Maybe it's some kind of an interest that is growing or is super prevalent in a certain area. I'd love to see some new initiatives and some new programming start up that's youth-led. Maybe you know of some youth who you're thinking, this kiddo is a fantastic artist. Let me know, because I'd love to get that youth plugged in. Maybe that youth would serve as a great mentor to some of our younger 4-H kiddos and could provide some leadership and help some younger kids develop those same types of skills. So I'm always open to new ways that we can invite new audiences and diverse audiences, whether that, is diversity from the way we look, the way we sound, the way we believe, the way we worship, all the way to, the things that we're good at. It makes us unique. It makes us human. And I want to embrace all of those things. So I am here for the youth of Wayne County. And I certainly don't want anyone to hesitate to reach out with any ideas or to get involved with our program. So if you have any questions or concerns, like I said, feel free to shoot me an email, Criswel, but with only one L, at purdue.edu, or you can call the Purdue Extension Wayne County office at 765-973-9281. Again, I'd like to thank Carl Reinhardt for the opportunity to share this information, and I look forward to hearing from many of you and to welcoming you or continuing to embrace you within the Wayne County 4-H community. Thanks so much. Have a great evening and stay well.